Yeah, so my name is Andrew Peel. I'm a Passive House Building Certifier, Consultant, and Trainer. I've been involved with Passive House for probably about 12 years now. Actually got my start in the industry at the source at the Passive House Institute in Germany. Actually worked on some algorithms for the PHPP software. And so I worked in Germany at the Institute for a while, moved over to the UK, and was fortunate to get involved with Passive House when things were just getting going. So I was fortunate to see the evolution of the industry in the UK. And then subsequently, I've moved back to Canada, my native country, and for the last 5, 6 years or so, I've seen a similar development, although it's a kind of a more exponential growth in Passive House. So yeah, that's kind of my background. We also have been getting more involved with manufacturers recently as well, helping them, supporting them, assessing their products for Passive House compliance, as well as helping them with product development. Yeah, well, I think a lot of it falls back to some great advocates for Passive House in Vancouver, because really Vancouver is the leading light for Passive House in Canada. We've got a lot of strong policy that's supporting the development. And we're seeing a lot of commercial developers now actually enter the game because they're realizing that actually there are commercial benefits to doing it through some of the relaxations and advantages that the city provide for projects going through Passive House certification. And they've actually set that as a requirement that these projects have to go for certification that's one of the routes to meeting the Vancouver building bylaw. So yeah, and we're starting to see that kind of policy spread to other jurisdictions, whether it's British Columbia, the province of British Columbia with their energy step code, heavily influenced by Passive House. Toronto Green Standard took a very similar approach to the BC step code. And we see the top tiers of those two standards meeting basically Passive House. So they're not Passive House in strict name, but essentially, particularly when you look at the energy metrics, space heating demand, it's very much aligned with Passive House. This project, as far as we're aware, the world's first car dealership that is seeking Passive House certification. It's located in Red Deer, Alberta, which I mean you can easily look up. It's nestled between Calgary and Edmonton, so sort of central Alberta. Very cold environment. It's interesting. It's about an hour and a half north of Calgary, and yet you climb in elevation, and it's noticeably colder there. So we do get a lot of cold climate challenges, which I can speak about. Just a bit more background on the project motivation. So the client, it's a multi-generational car dealership family. I think this year or last year they celebrated about the 50th anniversary of the company. They have a variety of car dealerships already from, I think, multi-brand. So we've got like Buick. I've actually forgotten them now. This project that's going for Passive House is actually a Subaru dealership. And they actually, I think Subaru in general has been kind of evolving their environmental strategy. I think they have the first zero waste facility in Indiana. And so this kind of project sort of fit well within their ethos. And the client admits, he's not an environmentalist at heart, but he did see the benefits of building to the Passive House standard, both in terms of cost savings, operational cost savings, durability, and it's not like he's anti-environmental. So if it contributes to the cause, and then he's certainly supportive of it. But he wouldn't necessarily make just a decision strictly on that basis. Yeah, and so we've basically the car dealership is divided into 3 components. Some other interesting aspects, challenges that came up. It was the energy balance, not just in terms of this envelope. What are the ventilation losses? What are the envelope losses? But also some special gains, not just from the equipment that's being used, but rather also the cars, because the cars themselves have heat or in some cases cooling effect, because they either come in hot or they may even come in cold because the customers sometimes drop them off, leave them overnight. And if you're at, you know, minus 30 outside, you're bringing an ice block into the actual repair shop. And so that was a consideration we had to look at. Well, what's the influence of that energy flow both in and out of the repair shop? Other things like equipment performance and even capability at these really low temperatures. You know, we want to use heat pumps. Not very common in Alberta because they're you know, it's a land of oil and gas. You know, it's our Texas in Canada. Yeah, we were trying to do air source heat pumps, but you really come across the limitations. You know, can they actually perform down that cold? And, you know, even if the manufacturer may claim that, you know, do the engineers trust that? So there's a lot of working through the HVAC and other equipment, hot water equipment, to make sure that we have a robust system that's ultimately going to deliver the service the client needs, because he didn't want the passive house elements to disrupt any element of customer service, because they're like a lot of car dealerships, very customer service oriented, and so that anything we did for passive house couldn't disrupt that service element. So all sorts. I mean, this was probably the most challenging project as a consultant that I've been involved in terms of passive house. Just so many, every little decision, because of the climate and the client requirements, every little decision mattered, and we had to really think through it. But, you know, challenging in a fun way. And so yeah, it's under construction now. I think they're awaiting the windows and curtain wall system to be installed. So it's kind of well on its way. But of course, they've got some, you know, a bunch of work ahead of them.